Hi everybody, my name is Richard McMunn and welcome to this tutorial which is my top 21 interview questions for 2020. So the year 2020 is upon us and these are the questions that are being answered right now across all job interviews. So I can assure you if you watch this tutorial from beginning to end, not only will you know the interview questions that you're going to be asked, I'm going to give you some great tips for scoring highly, beating the competition, and above all, passing your job interview. So before I get into those top 21 interview questions, a very warm welcome to this interview training tutorial. My name is Richard McMunn. That's me there in the centre, the bald chap. I've been helping people for about 20 years now to pass their interviews. And as I say in this tutorial, we're going to focus on the top 21 interview questions and tips to make sure you pass. Please do subscribe to the channel by clicking the red button below the video. That way you are not going to miss out on any of the weekly training videos that I'm uploading, and I would also very much appreciate your support if you gave the video a like. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get straight into it. Take notes as I progress. There's plenty to go through here. First question, interview question number 1 is, tell me about yourself. So this is going to be the first interview question. You walk into the interview room, you sit down, they say, welcome to the interview. So start off, tell me about yourself. How do you answer that question? Here are some tips. Make sure you focus purely on your work abilities. Don't talk about what you get up to outside of work. They are not interested. Focus purely on your work abilities and use powerful words and phrases in your answer, such as, I'm hardworking, I'm enthusiastic, I'm committed and professional. Use those keywords and phrases to score highly. So tell them why they should hire you. You could say, you should hire me because I will learn the job quickly and I will start contributing positively to the team in as fast a time as possible. So that's the first interview question. The second one, interview question number 2 is, why do you want to work for us? So why have you chosen our company? Why do you want to work for us? Here are my tips for answering this to score highly. So focus on 3 things during your answer to this interview question. Say the fact they have exciting plans for the future appeals to you. So you've gone on their website, you see they are a highly trusted and respected company and they have exciting plans for the future and you'd like to be a part of those. Say the fact that they have a strong reputation in the industry is also appealing to you because you have high standards. And also the fact you feel your skills, qualities and attributes will be put to good use whilst working for them. So when they say to you, why do you want to work for us? You can say, well, I want to work for you for 3 specific reasons, and then tell them those 3 reasons. Next question, interview question number 3. What are your strengths? So what are you good at doing? So we need to give them strengths which are appealing to them. So how do we answer that? Well, make sure you read the job advert or the job description prior to going along to the interview, and then match your strengths to the ones that are listed there. So for example, if one of the key requirements for the role you're being interviewed for is to work as part of a team, say that one of my strengths is I'm great at working with other people to complete difficult tasks on time, or let's assume one of the key requirements of the role is delivering customer service, you can say I'm great at always putting customers first and I will go out of my way to do a great job for them. So that's the first tip, is read the job advert and then list your strengths with the ones that are on there. So a great strength to use if you are struggling to find one is, my strength is my ability to take on and complete multiple tasks whilst I'm working under pressure. That's very attractive to any hiring manager or employer. Another great strength is your ability, as I say, to always put the customer first. And also, this is important, that you understand how important customer service is to the success of their company. Essentially, if businesses don't have customers and returning customers, they will go out of business. And you, as an employer, have to deliver great customer service. Next question, question number 4. What's your biggest weakness? Guaranteed to be an interview question during your interview. But again, we have to be very careful how we answer this question. So here's some tips. Make sure you do actually give a weakness. So I've been interviews before where I've interviewed people, say, what's your weakness? And they say, I don't really have any weaknesses. Those people who say that, they are not being truthful. We all have weaknesses. However, The two important things here are the fact that you identify which weaknesses you have and also what you are doing to rectify them. So do not give a weakness that is a match for the job description or the person specification. So again, look at the job advert, and if you have to work under pressure to complete difficult tasks, then don't say, well, my weakness is I'm not very good at working under pressure, because you will not get the job. So my favourite weakness to give in this kind of scenario where you're responding to the interview question, what's your biggest weakness is, I would say, I have been criticised before in the past for my inability to say no to people. I'm usually the first person to volunteer and put my hand up to do additional tasks, and I sometimes get overloaded with work. So if you said that to me, yes, that is a weakness because you can't say no. But if you're working for me and you're always going to say yes to jobs, that's very attractive to me as an employer. I would want you working for me. Question number 5. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? There is one specific reason they want to ask you this question. Only one reason. So they are going to be spending time investing money and resources, training you up in the role, and then if you leave within 12 months, they've got to find someone else, and it's not easy to find the right person going through a recruitment selection process. So they want you to stay there for a long period of time. So when you're answering this question, you have to say you're going to still be working for them. That's very important. So say you expect to be competent in the role and well respected by your work colleagues, supervisors and peers. So if they said, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? I would be saying, well, first of all, I still expect to be working within this role and to be competent and well respected by my work colleagues, managers and supervisors. I would also then go on and say, I would also be willing to help train up other people in similar roles to this one due to the length of time I will have been here and also the experience I would have gained within the role. So that would be my model answer to that question. By the way, I hope you are enjoying this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe, and again, if you would hit that like button, I'd very much appreciate that. Thank you. Question number 6 of our top 21 interview questions for 2020. Why do you want to leave your job? Difficult question, but there is an easy way to answer this. So why do you want to leave your job? Here are some tips. Do not, under any circumstances, criticise or be disrespectful to either your work colleagues or your manager. Don't say, I want to leave my job because I just don't get on with the team or they don't understand me. There is a better way to answer this. Or a good thing to say is, basically, I am now ready for a new challenge where my skills and qualities are going to be put to good use. Say you will leave your previous job on good terms and with fond memories of the great things you achieved whilst with your previous employer. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the interviewer. What do they want you to say? That's the key tip for passing any interview. So if you were interviewing me and you said, why do I want to leave my job? And I said, didn't really get on with my boss. You don't know the circumstances surrounding that situation, and all you hear is me being negative. Okay, so we need to avoid that at all costs. Interview question number 7. When have you delivered excellent customer service? So this is a behavioural type interview question, a tough interview question. And my advice is to make sure you give a specific example of when you have delivered great customer service. And you do that by using what's called the STAR technique. So when you construct your answer, use situation, task, action and result. And I'll give you an example of that in a second. So here is my sample answer to the interview question. When have you delivered excellent customer service? Here we go. Whilst working in a previous job, I helped a customer who was having problems choosing a product specific to their needs. So I spent time explaining the products we had available and which ones, in my opinion, would be most suited to their needs. Now, although it took me longer than usual to deal with the customer, I felt it was important to provide brilliant customer service in line with my employer's customer service values. Now, once I'd finished helping the customer, they thanked me for the time I'd taken ensuring they got the right products, and they then went away and left a positive review online, which was great to see. So that's a specific scenario utilising situation, task, action and a positive result at the end. Interview question number 8. What would you do if you didn't get on with someone within your team? So this is preempting some form of conflict. What would you do if you didn't get on with someone in your team? Now, some people will say, Well, to be honest, it wouldn't be my problem. It would be their problem. I get on with everybody, so I would just leave them and just get on with my job. That's not what you want to be saying here. So how do you answer this question? First and foremost, be the better person and say you would tackle the situation positively with a review to resolving any conflict quickly. Now remember this, the aims and goals of your employer, the company you are working for, must always come first. And any form of conflict in the workplace is counterproductive, it's negative. So you should be the one who sorts it out quickly. Now, if you can't sort it out, say you would always act with professionalism at all times and you'd do all you could to get on with the person for the sake of the team. So the important thing here is to always put the team first and the company you are working for. Question number 9 of our top 21 interview questions for 2020. How do you handle pressure? Some people can't handle pressure. Now, the way to handle pressure is to understand what it is and how to prioritize your tasks. So, say, I understand that pressure is all part and parcel of everyday working life, and I actually perform really well whilst I'm under pressure. And then, the best way to work under pressure is to follow these 3 things. Number 1, say, I prioritize which tasks are the most important and which I need to do first. Then I will draw up a list of priority tasks and by what time and date they have to be completed by. And then number 3, I will work solidly and put in the extra hours if needed to get the task done within that set time frame. So that shows you have a logical approach to handling pressure in the workplace. Interview question number 10. Why should we hire you? So this is sometimes posed in a different way. Why should we hire you over the other applicants? So the best way to answer this is simply to say this. I have read the job description in detail and I strongly believe I have the necessary skills, qualities and attributes to carry out the job to a very high standard. And if you hire me, I will work hard to fit into the team so I can start contributing positively in a very quick timescale. That's a short, punchy and positive statement that would be attractive to any interviewer or recruiting manager. Interview question number 11. When have you worked as part of a team? So again, it's a behavioural type interview question. So make sure, once again, you use the STAR technique of situation, task, action, result. And when creating an answer to questions that are based around team working, make sure you say that you listened to the brief, that you allocated team tasks based on each team member's strengths. You then worked hard as part of a team to do your particular job to the highest standards possible. You then supported other team members and you also worked really hard to achieve a successful outcome. That's how you should answer questions based around teamwork. Question number 12. What didn't you like about your last job? This is a difficult question. And it is okay, I suppose, to say, well, there wasn't really much I disliked, but it's better to give something that you didn't like. So don't say you didn't like your manager or a particular member of the team or a work colleague. Avoid that at all costs. But you could say this. There wasn't really anything I disliked. However, I sometimes found my employer's lack of ambition slightly frustrated me, as I felt they could have achieved so much more. I'm actually quite a positive and enthusiastic person, and I would have loved it if their future plans would have been more ambitious. So that shows that you are somebody who is ambitious and enthusiastic, which is very attractive to any employer. Or you could even say this. Well, there wasn't really anything I disliked. However, I felt my skills and qualities were not always used to their full potential. Whilst I always did my job properly, professionally and on time, I felt I could have done so much more for my employer given the opportunity. So that just shows that you're in a job where your skills are not being used to their full advantage. But you're going to work for this company that you're being interviewed for, and they have the opportunity to really use somebody who is positive and enthusiastic. Interview question number 13. What 3 things would your last boss say about you? So what 3 things would your last boss say about you? So they might say that you were reliable, trustworthy, and when you were given a job, he or she knew it would get done to the right standard and on time. That's a great thing. Or they could say that the standards of work you delivered were the benchmark for others to follow. That's a brilliant thing to say. The standards of work that you delivered were the benchmark for other people to follow. Or that your positive, professional and hard-working nature always rubbed off on others, and that he or she could rely on you to do your job properly on time and to the standards expected. So you can take a note of those 3 things and use them when you're asked the question, what 3 things would your last boss say about you? Interview question 14 of our top 21 interview questions. What are your salary expectations? Now, this would normally come towards the end of the interview. And if you are asked this tough interview question, this is how to approach it. Because what you don't want to do is to give a low salary that you are kicking yourself later on for, because you'll be stuck with that salary for at least 12 months. But also, you don't want to go in overconfident and say something that is unattractive to them. So here's how to do it. First and foremost, do some research. Go online and see what the standard average salary is for your role within the industry. So a great website to do that research is glassdoor.com. That will give you the range of salaries for your particular area, for your job, the job that you're applying for. So then, let's assume the salary range for your job is, for example, $21,000 to $27,000. You could say, I believe that I'm worth the top range of $27,000, but I am prepared to take a slightly lower salary of $25,000 because I understand you have to prove that I'm going to be a great fit for the role. So that is a good option to follow. So you've done some research. Let's say the salary range for this job is $21,000 to $27,000. I believe I am worth the top range. However, I understand, you are employing me, you don't know me yet, so I have to prove to you. So I'm prepared to take a slightly lower salary of $25,000 and I'll prove to you how good I am. And that then gives you, a salary that you're happy with. But then later on down the line, if you're really good in your job, you can then go back and say, okay, I've done a great job for the last 12 months. Will you increase my salary? So that works for you, and that also, more importantly, works for them as well. Interview question number 15. Can you give me an example of a difficult situation you faced in a previous job and how you dealt with it? So can you give me an example of a difficult situation you faced in a previous job and how you dealt with it? So the latter part, how you deal with it, is really important. So here's a great answer to this tough interview question. I was working as part of a team when my manager came in and told us all the deadline for the completion of a project we'd been working on had been cut significantly. This meant we now only had 7 days to complete the project quickly and successfully. I approached the situation by being positive, putting in the extra hours needed to complete the project, and by also motivating the other members of the team to do the same. So if you want to pause the video at this point and write that down, please feel free to do so. That's a great answer to that tough interview question. Interview question number 16. Explain the gaps in your employment. This is a tough one. Very, very tough one. Well, first and foremost, always be honest and upfront about why you had time away from work. And the reason is, being honest is an attractive quality to any employer. So most people will be dishonest, but you don't want to get caught out, because if you do later on down the line, there is a strong opportunity or strong chance you'll lose your job. So be honest. But the key here is to think about what are good reasons to be off. So maybe you did some volunteering while you're off. Maybe you traveled where you were experiencing different cultures. Maybe you had to be off work, unfortunately, to look after sick or ill relatives. Or maybe you were raising or supporting your family. So the key is to try and reframe the reasons why you're off by saying, the time I had off enabled me to improve my existing skill set, and I now believe I'm a much better and more focused employee for that experience. Question 17, interview question 17. What's your greatest achievement to date? So if they say to you, what's your greatest achievement to date? Think of a work-related situation that you were in that helped the employer. So give an achievement that was a massive benefit to the company you were working for. So you could say, my greatest achievement to date has to be the time I worked as part of a team to secure additional sales contracts for my employer. We'd worked really hard as part of a team to win the contracts, and it put our employer in a great position for the future. You are answering that question intelligently if you use something like that, because you're putting yourself in the shoes of the interviewer, which, as I've said all along during this tutorial, that's really, really important. Interview question 18. What would you do in the first 30 days of starting? So they give you the job. What would you do in the first 30 days? So this is important to have already considered what you will do in the position. And this interview question catches a lot of people out, but not you. You're going to focus on three things as follows. I would concentrate on three things. First of all, I would obtain a full brief from you, my manager, on what you expected from me and the standards I needed to work to. Secondly, I would get to know my team really well so I could understand the type of things I could do to start contributing positively to the organisation's goals quickly. And finally, thirdly, I would look to complete my first important project or task in the fastest time possible to show you what I'm capable of within the role and to also repay the faith you've shown in me by employing me in this position. So when you're answering the interview question, what would you do in the first 30 days of starting? Focus on those three things to get the highest scores possible. Interview question number 19. When have you had a disagreement with your manager? Oh, this is a tough interview question because we all disagree with our managers, but it's how we disagree that's important. So you might decide to say something like this. Following a team meeting, I disagreed with a proposal my manager had put forward. I decided to speak to him in private to offer an alternative suggestion. So I explained to him in a respectful and professional manner the reasons why I disagreed with him, and that I thought there might be some mileage in exploring the option I had come up with. He then listened to my suggestions but decided not to go ahead with them, which I totally respected. I think it's always good to say if you disagree with something, providing you put the needs of the company first and you do it with respect and professionalism. Because I don't want to employ someone who's just going to agree with everything I say. I want to be challenged at times, but I want somebody to challenge me in a positive way. And if I don't agree with them, I want them to respect that also. So that's a great answer to that interview question. Interview question 20. What motivates you? This, on the surface, seems like a very easy interview question to answer, but you have to be careful what you say here. So these are the things. This is what I would say when someone says to me, what motivates you? I would say 3 things motivate me: doing a great job for my employer, continually improving within my role, and also feeling that I'm continually contributing and adding value to the company I'm working for. Those are 3 great things to say. So again, pause the video if you want to, write those down, and you can use that within your answer to the interview question. What motivates you? Question 21, do you have any questions for the panel? So you get to the end of your interview, you've answered all the questions. This question can ruin it for people. They either don't ask any questions or they ask silly questions, but you are going to ask smart questions that cap off the interview and put you across as the person they need to hire. So what questions are you going to ask? Here we go. Number 1, what would you need me to concentrate on in the first few weeks of starting? So you're already thinking about being in the role and helping the employer achieve their goals. Next question, what are the future plans for the company? And do you have any exciting products or services being launched soon? This shows that you're interested in their future. And then what can you tell me? What's frustrated you about previous employees who occupied the same role that I'm being interviewed for today? So already you're thinking about doing things the right way and to the satisfaction of your manager. So I would only ask 2 or 3 questions. Pick them from those if you want to gain the highest scores. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you click the link below the video, you can get answers to loads of interview questions from my website, passmyinterview.com. I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. I very much appreciate your support. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. Thanks, guys. Have a brilliant day, and I hope you pass your interview. All the best.